I didn't go to Denmark to chase beauty. I went to stop chasing anything at all that I didn't know it then, but I was tired of noise, tired of chasing bigger, faster, louder. And Denmark? It didn't try to impress me. It just was. Quiet, calm, strangely certain of itself. One morning in Copenhagen, I watched a woman ride her bike through fog, basket full of bread, scarf floating in the wind. No rush. No phone. Just life. Simple. That was the moment something shifted. And this is the story of that shift. We don't always realize what we're missing until we're somewhere that has it. Denmark isn't loud. It doesn't scream to be seen. It's not the tallest mountain or the flashiest skyline. But what it offers, a culture rooted in calm, care, and deep simplicity, feels like something most of us have forgotten. That I went for 2 weeks. I stayed for 2 months. And in that time, Denmark quietly rewired something in me. This isn't a travel guide. It's a love letter to the slowness, the silence, and the small, perfect things. Every morning, like clockwork, the city flows. Not with cars, but with bikes. More than 40% of Copenhageners commute by bicycle. It's not just a mode of transport. It's a rhythm, a way of moving through the world without hurrying. The streets are quiet, the air fresh. You see people smile at stoplights. You hear birds point. One morning I rented a used black bike from a man named Eric. No gears. No flash. Just a squeaky bell. Keep to the right, he said, and don't forget to look up. I didn't know what he meant until I was riding through Nørrebro, past old buildings and modern bakeries, watching golden leaves fall like slow confetti. There were no headphones in my ears. Just wind, wheels, and a feeling I hadn't had in years. Presence. In that stillness, something opened. People love talking about Hygge. Candles. Blankets. Cozy corners. But what I learned? It's not just decor. It's a mindset. In Denmark, comfort isn't something you buy. It's something you build. Slowly. With intention. That I stayed in a guest house in Aarhus, run by an older couple, Mads and Lena. Every evening, they lit candles, not for a holiday, but just because the dark deserved warmth. They brewed tea. They sat close. No TV. No scrolling. One night, Lena told me, "We don't chase happiness here. We create space for it to arrive." That line stayed with me. Maybe happiness isn't out there. Maybe it's in the pause, the quiet, the ordinary moment we let be enough. At the very top of Denmark, there's a place where the North Sea and Baltic Sea touch, but never mix. You can see it with your own eyes, 2 bodies of water meeting like strangers on a cold beach, dancing but never merging. That place is called Grenaa, near the town of Skagen. The sand is pale and windswept. The sky feels closer there. Everything is reduced: air, sea, silence. I sat there for over an hour, watching waves bump and part. No signs. No loud tourists. Just that eternal collision that never becomes conflict. In many ways, Denmark felt like that beach. 2 parts of life, ambition and rest, motion and stillness, touching without fighting. That there's a quiet reverence for the small in Denmark. That it's in how people say tak, thank you, for everything. How they arrange their homes so that the light hits the walls just right. How they grow flowers even in the rain. That I was invited to a small dinner by a friend named Sophie. No formality. Just home-cooked soup, rye bread, and soft jazz. At one point, she lit a single candle and said, "We light this for nothing in particular. Just for this moment." It struck me how many moments I rush through. How often I treat dinner as something to get through instead of experience. In Denmark, even soup has dignity. Even silence has warmth. Ribe is Denmark's oldest town. Cobblestone streets. Thatched roofs. A cathedral that's watched over people for more than 850 years, but what surprised me most wasn't the history. It was how slow the present felt. No one rushed. Shopkeepers chatted like they had nowhere to be. Kids rode by on bikes, giggling. I bought a pastry from a woman named Ingrid, who told me she had lived here her entire life. "I've never wanted to leave," she said. "The world moves. But this place breathes." That day, I realized something. Maybe stillness isn't the absence of motion. Maybe it's motion with meaning that I came to Denmark expecting another pretty place. What I found was a philosophy, a quiet rebellion against excess. A country that doesn't shout to prove its worth. A culture that doesn't equate more with better. One night, walking along the canals of Copenhagen, I noticed something. No skyscrapers. No blinding neon. Just amber light from windows, reflections on still water, and bikes silently rolling by. That night, I wrote in my journal, maybe we're not supposed to fill every moment. Maybe we're supposed to feel it. And that's what Denmark taught me. Simplicity isn't about sacrifice. It's about space. For joy. For clarity. For life itself. When I flew home, I didn't bring back souvenirs. I brought back something heavier and lighter at once. The weight of knowing I had been somewhere that showed me how to live differently, not grandly, but fully. That I think of the candle on Lena's table. The bikes humming down quiet streets. The sea that never shouts. The richest moments in life, I wrote later, are often the ones no one else sees. This story isn't just about Denmark. It's about what happens when we slow down enough to hear our own lives again. And maybe light a candle for no reason. If you've ever felt tired of the noise, of rushing towards something unclear, maybe what you need isn't a louder life. Maybe you just need a quieter one. And if that's true, maybe Denmark isn't just a destination. Maybe it's a reminder.